Funding for this video is provided through a grant from the North Central Extension Risk Management Education, USDA, National Institute of Food and Agriculture.
Good morning, sunshine, and welcome to Make Hay in conjunction with The Ohio State University. I'm Kelly Moore, and this is a presentation for you, my farm families, on the Farms spreadsheet, the tool that will get your assets organized and your succession plan rolling. So time to fill up that coffee cup and gather your info. Let's make hay.
Hello. In this session, we'll be finishing up the green tabs of the farm spreadsheet. In those tabs are the asset and debt information. So let's start with real estate. In this worksheet, we want to include all the real estate you may own. This may be farmland, obviously, but could also be personal real estate like vacation homes, timeshares. It also might be commercial property or rental property. So any real estate you own should go onto this spreadsheet. So let's take a look at how we want to enter that information. We want the name of the farm, whatever you call it. That's usually the easiest way to refer to it during our planning sessions. And what type of property? Is it farm? Is it personal? Is it commercial? Then to get the value of the property, you can do it one of two ways. We've got it set up so that you can put in acres times value per acre plus improvement value. That would be buildings or bins, whatever you may have on it. And it will put that value in for you. So it will calculate for you. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, you just leave those blank and just put in your own value. So however you want to do that. Then we need to know the county, state, parcel, and then the owners. Just like the financials and life insurance, you just add owners by clicking on the drop-down menu, and you can have multiple owners. We need to know if it's your residence for planning purposes, and also if it will qualify for homestead exemption. How's it titled for probate purposes? Is it joint with rights of survivor, tenants, TOD, and then who is the beneficiary? And that helps us know if we're going to avoid probate or not. And if there are none, just be sure to mark that none. CAUV in Ohio, that's our farmland value method. In other states, they call it different things, but it's farmland is valued at farm value rather than fair market value in Ohio. And we want to know if the property is eligible for CAUV. So that's what that's saying there. So that's the real estate. We've got, I think 40 or so lines there. So we should be able to capture all of your real estate there. Now down below is real estate owned by an entity. And I'll get to the business entities here in a minute. But this is real estate. We don't want to put the real estate and entities in both places. So put all of the real estate owned by an entity here, and I'll show you where we're going to put it in the business entity. This number down here does not go to our summary page because we don't want to double dip. We don't want our real estate to show, the value to show up in our business entity and the real estate page. So for here, make sure you put down each parcel that may be in entities, but it does not come over to the summary page. So that's real estate, pretty straightforward. It's either personal real estate in the personally held real estate in the yellow box, or real estate in a business entity in the green box. Okay, so let's go to business entities. Up here, you can enter in up to 10 business entities. So each time, or for each number, a blank template will come in. And we've already filled out a couple of these, so let's look at it. Here, we're going to want the name, the type of entity. Is it taxed as a corporation, LLC, or partnership? And then also the type of entity. Is it an LLC, limited partnership, whatever you may own? So pretty self-explanatory there. The next step is to go over here to this gray box, and I call this the mini balance sheet. What we want to do here is put in the assets in the entity and the value. Now, you can be as detailed as you want, or if you just want to put everything into one category, that's fine. It's like everything else in farms. You can the level of detail is up to you, but you might divide it up by machinery, livestock, grain, and put that in here. Then it totals the value here, brings this value over to the asset value, add in any debt here. Now, I did make a note over here. It's an operating loan, but I put $25,000 in comment, not the value, because we don't want it showing up both places. So put your debt over here, then it gets to the net value. If we want to add an ownership discount, you can do that here for closely held businesses. Oftentimes we can discount the value of that entity due to minority ownership or lack of marketability. And you can put that percentage there. That gets us the discounted value. Then you go down to ownership and we identify each owner. So here we've got John and Jane, each owning 50%. That calculates the value. So 50% of our discounted value is $217,000. And then just add in, is it titled individually, TOD, whatever the case may be, and you can add that there. So at least in Ohio, it's easy to avoid probate with business entities. So that's why it's important to know how it's titled and then who the beneficiary may be. Entity 2, I set up as a land LLC. So here I just put all the real estate together into 500,000. And we come over here and that shows up under asset value. We don't have any debt, gives us a net value. We add a 33% discount again. And then the same thing down below. We identify the owners, their ownership percentage, and then it'll calculate the value for us. And we input how it's titled and if we have any beneficiaries. So pretty straightforward. Just remember, fill out the mini balance sheet first. Then go over to this box and add in any debt and ownership discount. Then move to the orange box and input ownership information. That's the best process to do the business entity worksheet. Okay, let's move to personal property. So these are going to be assets in your own name. And we start out with titled vehicles. These are personal titled vehicles. So your car and your pickup and things like that. You just need description, name, how it's titled, value, and beneficiary. So pretty self-explanatory. And then personal effects. You may leave this blank if you really don't have any personal effects that are unique or that will go to a certain person. Maybe you leave this blank, but if you have a toy tractor collection that you want to go to a grandson or granddaughter, if you want your wedding ring to go to your favorite niece, that's the kind of thing you can do in here. And then that way your attorney will know to take that information and incorporate it into the will or trust. So see the example I've got here: toy tractor collection, jewelry, gun collection, antique furniture, and then we identify who owns it, what type of asset, put a value on it, and maybe it's more sentimental than has actual value, so you can leave that blank if you want, and then who you want to get it. So this is for collectibles and just personal items you may have. All right, let's move over to the farm asset tab. Now, these are farm assets that you own in your own name. These would not be in a business entity. Any assets that are in a business entity need to be in the business entity tab. So here I've got a tractor owned by John. Here's the value, and beneficiary we have as Joe, but being an untitled asset, we may have a probate issue there. And then down here, we put titled vehicles. Titled vehicles often get missed and must be probated. Trailers are, for farms, one of the most common assets that have probate issues. So make sure you put down all your trailers and grain trucks and dump trucks and anything else that is titled, that is not a personal vehicle, to make sure that we can avoid probate on those assets. But again, just fill the columns out as indicated and should be pretty easy to do. The last tab for assets is other. So anything and everything that maybe didn't quite fit into the other tabs, you can put here. Also, if you run out of space somewhere, if you ran out of tabs or ran out of lines for the bank accounts, you've got more bank accounts than we have lines, you can add them here. So this is just kind of a catch-all carryover, however you want to use it. Anything and everything can go in here, and just put the description, owner, value, and any beneficiary you might have. All right, we got to deal with debts. So here I put in that same operating loan of $25,000, but I noted that it's already included in the business entity, so I didn't actually put the balance in. But let's say you had a loan personally that's not in a business entity, then you would just put the balance there and it will carry over to our summary page. So just put in your loan information. The more information, the better. Even start date, term, interest rates can be helpful, especially if we get into needing to plan around cash flow. So that's the debt page. All right, so that takes care of all the assets in debt. In our next session, we're going to look at the summary page. And while we're getting to the summary page, some homework for you to do is think about who gets what assets, how much of each assets, what is that percentage, or however you may divide it up, and the value on those assets if you haven't already put it in the tab worksheets. In the summary page, we'll start analyzing the distribution plan. So thank you.
We hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time here at Make Hay.